Life on Maui and Stephen Freid wish to gratefully acknowledge the following sponsors for making this show possible. The generous contribution of Leah Howard. Psychic Channel Leah Howard hosts Mind, Body, Spirit Radio. And also thank the following sponsors: Richard Marks, photographer; Lou Abrams, psychologist; Mandala Arts in Paia; and the Temple of Peace in Haiku. Thank you so much for your generous contributions. Welcome to Life on Maui. We have a fascinating guest today, someone who is well known around this island, Dreaming-Bear Kanaan. Many of you know him as an impassioned poet. Today we'll find out many of his facets, his life story, and his passions in life. Welcome to the show, Dreaming-Bear.
Thank you, beautiful Brother Steve, for having me. Such an honor and a privilege to be here.
Yeah, we've been, our paths have been weaving over these past months, and here we are finally doing the show.
I know, it's amazing when you set an intention, you say we're going to do something, and then we plant the seed in each other's hearts, and ultimately the flower begins to bloom, and we're in that moment of absolute blooming. So
be it.
Yeah, I hope.
I want to fill in people on some of your background, because I think it's fascinating. You've lived in 26 states, 17 countries. Say some of the places, paint the picture of where you've been, where you've lived, what's that been like for you?
Well, it's been an amazing journey. I think as one begins to grow in life, they begin to understand that the best experiences, the most valuable experiences, are direct experiences. And I learned long ago from an author, it's my favorite author, Thoreau, who said that there is no teacher so great as experience. So I began very early to travel around the world. I went everywhere from Russia to Nicaragua to Palestine to Lebanon to Jordan to Syria, and all with this intention, this desire to see what the rest of the world had to teach me. I really believe that the best teachers never stop being students. And so I began this quest of exploring every part of the world that my heart ever desired. And that quest led me vast places here in the U.S., to some of the most amazing, amazing places, and also to these really elaborate, exotic locations overseas. But of all the places I've been in my life, of all the places that I've gone and done things, no place has resonated so strongly with me as Maui itself.
We were having this conversation the other day, and both of us feel like we don't want to leave here. Exactly. It's like leaving a lover.
Exactly, exactly. Which brings me to, I wanted to say something because I didn't get a chance to say it earlier, but thank you for doing what you do as well, because it's such a blessing that you're giving the rest of the world a glimpse of our Mama Maui here, because I believe truly, and we talked about this as well, that Maui is going to become a new Mecca for people seeking expansion, people seeking heart opening. And as facilitators of that, as what you do really is to bring this aina, this essence of aloha to the rest of the world. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thanks. Your grandmother named you Dreaming-Bear. It's not just a name that, I mean, there's a lot of Maui names.
Right.
And I've always assumed that Dreaming-Bear was a Maui name, something you came up with. But Dreaming-Bear is a name that your grandmother gave you at birth. Tell the story behind that.
Well, when my mother first had me, when she got pregnant with me, she was only 16 years old, a very young girl, a runaway from home at the time. And
a Cherokee Indian.
A Cherokee, nonetheless. So we lived in a place in Oklahoma. My father had actually flown in. My father's Palestinian. He had come here on a student visa and met my mother.
How old was he at the time?
He was 19 when he came here, and she was 16. So they had an illicit affair, which produced a Mideast meets Midwest, as it were, child in me. And but before I was born, they gave my mother an option. They said that they thought she should have an abortion because she was only 16, and it's not a very good life ahead for a 16-year-old raising a child raising a child, as it were. And they asked her to sleep on it. And that night she fell asleep and she had a dream. And in this dream, an angel of light, or the spirit of the one, whatever we want to call it, a voice, an essence came to her and said, don't kill this child. He has something beautiful to offer the world. So in essence, my life was saved by a dream. And so my grandmother gave me this spirit name of Dreaming Bear. And it's called a spirit name because it really is a precursor to one's destiny, they say. So in other words, in indigenous traditions, it's common for someone to have several names throughout their lifetime. And those names might indicate different evolutions, as it were. But for her, in that moment, she said, one day, you're going to become the Dreaming Bear. And for her, that meant that I would have the courage to go ahead of my dreams and let them catch up with me, as it were. And it turns out that my whole life has really been inspired by dreams. I've never made a choice or a decision that didn't involve a dream. Premonitions through dreams, guidance, and I've really found the dream time to be the most direct source of connection for me. Other than, of course, being in nature and communing that way.
Yeah. Speaking of nature, you lived in a treehouse in Twin Falls for a couple of years.
I did.
And you were saying that there was, that was an incredible experience. Poetry was just flowing through you at that time. But there was also an element for you that it was an impoverished kind of lifestyle. So you've made a change inside of yourself. Speak to that.
Well, Twin Falls for me was really an effort to reconnect to Mama Maui, to Mama Earth, as it were.
Was that when you first arrived here?
It's when I first arrived here. I did a few wanderings and ended up at Twin Falls. And through the grace and hospitality of my Twin Falls Ohana, I just want to say thank you to you guys, each one of you, because they really reached out and saw something beautiful in my heart and allowed me the privilege and the honor to be in their presence and to live in a tree. To live in a tree house was one of my childhood dreams, of course. And it was just a beautiful star structure at the top of this Formosa koa tree. But you develop, I called the tree the lightning rod for dreams, because being there, immersed in nature, away from society, away from cars, away from modern conveniences such as electricity. I had no electricity, just firelight and candlelight. To live that way, close to the earth again, to grow our own food in our gardens, and to live a life that is based on communion with the land. It really sparks in each individual, not just myself, but I could see it happening in everyone who lives in this condition, a deep sense of groundedness, a deep sense of compassion and awareness, and it just puts you in that place where you're in constant communion. And I say that because nature is just ambient. It's always alive with something beautiful and refreshing and something filled with life essence, as it were.
Forget everything anyone ever taught you. Forget everything anyone ever taught you, especially about right or wrong, about good or bad, about beautiful or ugly, and just dance, my dears, dance. But dance the way you do when no one else is looking, and you have no reputation to protect.
This journey, I sought to escape reality, as it were. I don't know, I call it the paper-thin illusion of reality, which is this life that has us running in circles, looking for meaning in the least likely of places, under rocks and in the bottom of wine bottles, as it were. And this endless search for money, this need to get and to buy and to own. I wanted to sever myself from that world and to see if I could live a life without money. That was really my intention for the last few years. And I actually did. I lived a life without money, as much as one can do so, living off of donations, mostly of avocados and granola, and initially, and then little by little, I began to realize that, and the reason I did that was because I wanted my motives to be pure. I wanted to know that my heart was pure, that I wasn't in this as a way to get something from anyone, but I just wanted to give from the purest part of my heart. And after a few years of this, I realized, yes, my motives are pure, and furthermore, that money is just an energy. Just like an avocado or granola, money is a form of energy. It just happens to be the form of energy that makes things go around in society. So I reset my intention to allow myself to be abundant for doing what I love to do.
Yeah.
And for me, that meant inspiring hearts, to let that be what provides my way.